Hello everybody and welcome to Bittersweet Theory. This is part 2 of the Why Can't They Talk theory. I just wanted to let you know that I have read the comments and I want to start off by saying thank you all so much for sharing your thoughts. I was able to reply to some of you. You have made some really good points and I need to address them to do this theory justice. Alright, so the theory is that if a cartoon character is considered a person, they can talk, but if they're considered a pet, they can't. The two examples that I used in my last video were Blue from Blue's Clues and Courage from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Both of them can speak. I had forgotten about Courage does talk to Muriel in a few episodes. Also, Blue has her own spin-off show called Blue's Room. These are the main two characters that I want to address from the last video. First, I'm going to start off with Blue, then we'll go to Courage, and then I'll go to a completely separate theory related to this one. In Blue's Room, this playroom transforms Blue into a puppet with the ability to speak in full sentences. Blue's Room maintains the idea of imagination and role-playing, implying that this special room is Blue's inner voice and personality come to life, allowing her to express herself more directly with her friends and the audience. This storytelling choice helps deepen the characters' interactions and foster a complex conversations within the show. When Blue is no longer in her room, she can't speak. Magenta is the same type of puppy as Blue, but we never hear her talk during the show. Then you have Rainbow Puppy, who is the exact same as Blue and Magenta, but yet she can speak. She's an independent person. Blue and Magenta are pets. To explain Blue's Room, one of the main concepts in the show is that Blue can skidoo into different worlds that consist of different paintings and objects. Because of this, Blue could have painted her own ideal room. In this room, she could have the ability to speak. While she is in the real world, though, she is still a pet and she cannot communicate unless it's by barking. I am willing to admit that I was wrong about Courage. I was going mostly off memory of the show, but there are a few episodes where he's able to talk to Muriel. After watching the new Wicked movie, I didn't factor in fear as being a reason why Courage is only babbling in a lot of the moments in the show. Eustace is always using the mask to make Courage panic and fear. This could be why he is always in a state of panic when something bad is happening. This is a more likely explanation of what's going on versus Eustace seeing him as a pet and Muriel seeing him as a member of the family. Fear could also explain the back and forth between him being able to talk in some moments and not in others. I'll let you decide down in the comments. If there are some episodes of Courage talking to Eustace, I need some help finding them. For now, we'll put Courage on the same level as Scooby-Doo. There is also another theory by Neil deGrasse Tyson about why animals can speak.
Pluto is Mickey's dog, but Mickey is not Pluto's mouse. That disturbed me. Something is wrong because dogs can eat mice. So I had to get to the bottom of this. So I got some Disney people I called. I said, what gives here? So I learned. Not that you asked, but I spent a lot of time digging this up. I got to share it. It turns out in the Disney pantheon, among characters they created, not characters that they bought later, like Winnie the Pooh. I'm talking about pure Disney characters. No matter what creature you are, if you wear clothes, you can own other creatures who do not. Mickey's got the best shoes and the gloves. Pluto's butt naked. Pluto walks on all fours and does not speak. Meanwhile, Goofy wears clothes. Goofy is bipedal. Goofy lives in a house, pays rent, not in a doghouse. I know you were burning to know that.
This theory could be true, but I have some issues with it. This is where the concept that we see in Wicked comes into play. It shows us that the animals have the ability to become independent creatures over time, and this applies to Disney as well. Mickey didn't start out wearing clothing, but over time we see him start to wear more clothing. His clothing is a way of tracking of how he's becoming more dependent. He starts off just by wearing gloves, then over time starts wearing full outfits. He starts out just making noises to forming full sentences. So, over time, if an animal becomes more independent or human-like, they will start wearing clothing and having pets. This means that they can own different species of animals. I feel like for Neil's theory, he was onto something. Clothing is the way to keep track of how independent a character has become. I don't think that just because a character is wearing clothing, they can automatically speak, but it does add an interesting take to the theory. If this clothing theory is true, that would mean that whenever Mickey Mouse decides to go and take a shower or remove all his clothes, he can no longer have the ability to speak. It just kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you think about it. My question is, why does the rule of characters not speaking still apply in other Disney adaptations? Well, this is where my theory still holds up. It makes more sense as a whole to me that if animals are left alone to become independent, they develop into a person. But if they are taken in as a pet, they are not able to speak. Clothing or no clothing? Let's dive into some Disney movies for some examples. In Alice in Wonderland, Dinah is Alice's pet, but the Cheshire Cat can speak. Dinah is Alice's pet, but the Cheshire Cat is a person in Wonderland. Both of them are not wearing clothing. However, the Mad Hare and the White Rabbit are wearing clothing, so that means that clothing rule does not apply, but the pet theory does. In Aladdin, Raja is Jasmine's pet, but Iago is not a pet and can speak freely. Both of them are not wearing clothing. Iago had become an independent person over time and can speak. The only other tiger that I can think of for comparison with Raja is Shere Khan from The Jungle Book. Raja is a pet and Shere Khan became an independent person. In Winnie the Pooh, Pooh is the only one wearing a shirt, but he is not the only one who can talk. Roo is also the only one who wears a blue shirt. What we are seeing here is Winnie the Pooh is in the transformation stage of becoming more human-like and wearing clothing. Zero from The Nightmare Before Christmas is Jack's pet, but we see other ghosts at the beginning of the film singing. The ghosts in Zero are not wearing clothing, while all the other characters in town are. The only other character I can think of for this theory is the snake that we see in the film. As far as I know, he's not anybody's pet, so this means that he has the potential to become an independent person and speak. In Moana, Heihei and Pua are Moana's pets, but Tamatoa, who is a god crab person thing, can talk, and all of them are not wearing clothing. Tamatoa is starting to cover himself with objects, kinda like clothing, so again we can see the transformation of starting to wear clothing to become more human-like. In Cinderella, the theory gets a little bit more complicated. The mice are not her pets, but her friends. We see this with Gus Gus receives clothing. He had the ability to speak all along. It is only until he calms down and knows he's not in danger, he begins to speak. We know that the mice are not pets because Lucifer is Lady Germaine's pet and cannot speak. So Gus Gus is like the animals in Wicked and Courage. We see fear playing a factor of characters being able to speak. In Snow White, none of the animals can talk because Snow White doesn't have a pet. We can go on and on into a lot of different movies. If there is a movie you would like me to go over, let me know down in the comments. What we can conclude from this is that the pet theory does apply to a lot of Disney movies. It can also apply to other shows, but not all of them. There are still some unknown factors like magic and other things to consider. I think looking into the difference between Pluto and Goofy being two different species of dogs is worth looking into. That is all I have for now. Please continue to let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if there are any other shows or movies you want me to look into to do a theory for. Thank you so much for watching. That's all I have for now. Please subscribe if you haven't, and until next time, it's been bittersweet.